Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be some quick first impressions on Peacemaker. Now, Peacemaker is a spin-off series following the adventures of the character played by John Cena that we were introduced first off in a Suicide Squad movie from 2021, which was directed by James Gunn. Now, Peacemaker debuted its first 3 episodes on HBO Max on the 13th of January 2022, and it will consist overall of 8 episodes. Now, the story of Peacemaker is that it picks up right after the events of the Suicide Squad's end credits, where we saw Peacemaker survive his encounter with Bloodsport. After recovering in hospital, he feels he's free to go about his life as normal, but he quickly finds that he's still compromised to work for Amanda Waller and her secret government operations. If he refuses to help them, then they'll detonate the explosive device that's been planted into his head, as per the same setup with the other criminals within the Suicide Squad movies. Over the course of the 3 episodes, we see Peacemaker reunite with his father, who eventually gets framed and arrested. His seemingly best friend, or best fan indeed, Vigilante, joins him and the other agents as they are assigned to track down individuals known as butterflies. Now, to simply put it, whether you like Peacemaker or not completely depends on your taste and tolerance levels in terms of humour, tone and violence. Now, director James Gunn comes with the same outlandish, wacky, comedic, R-rated hyper energy from the Suicide Squad movies into the series. So if you like that film, then you probably will like this for sure. Now, Peacemaker also comes with those same juvenile sensibilities, or indeed lack of sensibilities, that we've seen so much recently in the superhero genre with the likes of The Boys, Doom Patrol, Invincible, Deadpool and Kick-Ass. So again, if you are very familiar with those recent series or films and you like the humour and the style from that type of content, then definitely Peacemaker is going to be a series for you. And just like the Suicide Squad, once again, James Gunn really swings for the fences. We get clear racial, homophobic and sexual overtones in terms of the dialogue. And to be honest with you, it's all played for laughs really. There's not much in terms of depth or context or messaging within this series. So I wouldn't say there's any of the woke concerns that everybody seems to highlight. This is very much of a fun narrative and tone and direction that we've seen throughout this series. So in terms of my opinion, it's a show that I'm not really completely on board with, and that's just because I'm not really a fan of that type of humour and style. So the majority of the jokes didn't really land for me, and a lot of the time I'm kind of rolling my eyes at the various wisecracks and one-liners that we see from all the characters, so I wasn't really as entertained as what others will be when watching this series. Now, I'll definitely give John Cena credit here. He definitely puts all of his effort and energy into this role, and he definitely does carry a screen presence and a charisma. He's the same dumb, numbskull personality from the Suicide Squad, but because in this story he is the main protagonist, so they've done a lot more effort to make him far more of a likeable and rootable character. But the downside to that is that he's far less of the ruthless killer that we saw in the Suicide Squad movie, and because of that he's far less competent, and he's much more of a bumbling fool, I would say, rather than somebody that we can take truly seriously. And I think this direction takes away some credibility and conviction of the character. Overall, I thought most of the supporting cast performed very well without their roles. Probably the standout was Emilia Harcourt, and also Robert Patrick as Peacemaker's father, Orgy, I think his name is. Now, he is clearly very much of a racist character, but there still comes a lot of potential intrigue, especially when we see him arrested in the 2nd episode, and he's very much got all of his devout supporters that we see in the closing scenes. So I'm sure there'll be a lot more development throughout the rest of the series for this character. Whether he will turn out to be the overall main antagonist of the show, we will wait and see overall. But I guess overall my biggest criticism in terms of Peacemaker is that it feels much less of a superhero adventure and much more of a lumbering R-rated comedy. There's too much slapstick, there's too much knockabout tone to fully keep me engaged. And to be fair, this is all intentional. This series clearly knows what it is, and it doesn't try to shy away from its true nature. We all knew going into Peacemaker that James Gunn was going to bring the same tone as what he's brought with the Suicide Squad. As I mentioned before, we were never going to get a dark, gritty superhero commentary very much in the same vein as the Netflix Marvel series. Even the likes of The Boys had a far more of a serious tone about it, but we don't get that here with Peacemaker, and as I mentioned before, that's not really their true intention. And we know that straight away from the opening credits, where we get this very much of an elaborate dance routine. So it's very hard to be super critical of a show that's clearly confident in the tone that it's going for. So right now, for me, after these 3 episodes, Peacemaker is mostly a derivative, aimless knockabout comedy really, and really nothing more. So we'll wait and see if it cuts into anything more deeper or substantial throughout the rest of the episodes. But as I said before, if you are a fan of this tone and humour, then you will absolutely find Peacemaker a very fun experience to watch. So those are my quick overall thoughts and feelings and impressions on the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker. Let me know what you think in the the comments below. How do you think this compares to the Suicide Squad? Do you think it's better, or do you think it's worse so far? Do you think this show will become even more better after the first 3 episodes, or are you enjoying it as it is and you want it to stay on that same type of tone and level? How do you think John Cena is performing in the role? Do you think this role will go on to help him progress far more into a mainstream actor, just like we saw with Dwayne Johnson in the last 5 to 10 years? Let me know what you think also in the comments. And with the usual, if I do continue to stick with this show, I will provide the usual season review as I do with all other shows. So look out for that very much so in the future. If there are any other superhero shows or television series that you'd like to see me cover on this channel, then let me know in the comments and I can see if I can provide a commentary on those series as well. Please also hit and like those subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay in safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.